Hello again, Chris Lee and Chase Robinson here to preview and predict the outcome on Florida, Georgia, and Jacksonville. You can catch that 2:30 Central on ABC. Georgia, according to BetOnline, a 16-point favorite with an over-under of 52.5, making for an implied final score of Georgia 34, Florida 18. My composite model is Georgia by 12.5. Can't wait to see this one. Florida's been playing a lot better. It comes off a bye. So does Georgia, for that matter. So two teams rested and ready to go, coming off times when they're playing really good football.
Yeah, I mean, this is a rivalry game, neutral field. You like to say anything can happen in these games, but obviously Georgia is the heavy favorite, and Florida is playing good football right now. And I'm interested to see how they come out of the bye week. They've had their share of injuries. They're figuring things out offensively. What were they able to do in the bye week to get ready for this Georgia game? I'm really interested to see.
All right, let's start with when Florida's got the ball. The Gators averaging nearly 31 points a game on 61 snaps. Rushing plays, 4.9 per. Passing plays, 9 flat per. That's number 2 in the league behind Ole Miss. And they get sacked 5% of the time. They turn it over 2.4% of the time. Georgia giving up almost 17 points a game, 2.1% turnover rate, 4.4 yards on rushing plays, 5.4 on passing plays, sack percentage of about 8%. Yeah, Georgia's defense really showed up against Texas, and I think played in a way it hasn't all year. Florida with DJ Lagway is just a big play machine. They've been getting a little bit better every week. I think that people that think this is going to be just a runaway maybe haven't been paying attention to what Billy Napier, DJ Lagway, and those guys have been doing, because it is a very balanced and talented offense.
Yeah, we were wondering, how they were going to respond to just coming into the season, the tough schedule, just not a lot of positivity around Florida, and it's slow start to the year, but I feel like they're starting to come on. They're starting to play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They're starting to come together and say, "Hey, we're not giving up on this year. We're gonna battle in every game we are." And I feel like that's what they've been able to do. And I think that overtime game with Tennessee, where they had plenty of chances to win it, they couldn't finish. Tennessee ended up winning that game, but I think maybe that gave them the confidence they need moving forward to say, "Hey, we can play with anybody. We can play with these teams." And I think offensively, I really like DJ Lagway. He's got to 1,024 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, but he has 5 interceptions as well, which is a concern. Montreal Johnson, I feel like he's coming on running the ball well, as is Jaden Ball. And you got some receivers, Dyke and Badger, Wilson, these guys who are catching the ball. So I think we're starting to see some weapons for Florida, and I feel like they're starting to get on the same page, get rolling. And to me, that's really all you need at this point of the season, and the way this SEC season is going. You start getting some positive momentum, and that can help you a lot.
Now, Georgia's defense is really good, and particularly
they are
front. But at the same time, I mean, the Gators have seen Tennessee, they've seen Kentucky, and I know Kentucky's kind of become a little bit of a punching bag since the last 2 weeks. But that team was really talented up front. I mean, I think this is going to be a very interesting side of the matchup, and just as Lagway continues to learn and get better and get experience.
Yeah, they got to be creative. I think that's going to be the biggest thing for Florida offensively. You're going to have to be creative against this Georgia defense, and make Lagway do some different things than what we've seen. And obviously, they've had a bye week to work on that, and so we'll see what creativity they can come out with out of the bye week. But I think that's crucial for Florida this week. Not just run the same thing we've seen all season, but to really be creative when it comes to the offense.
All right, let's flip sides of the matchup. Before that, basketball fans, it's that time of the year again. The NBA is back from opening tip-off to buzzer beaters. BetOnline has you covered with the best odds, biggest promotions, live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. This season, every game matters. BetOnline has every stat, matchup breakdown, live odds to bet on during games. It's not just the NBA. BetOnline has odds on everything from football, MLB playoffs, NHL to political props. Head to the website today. Get in on all the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Okay, when Georgia's got the ball, Carson Beck and company been a little bit of a disappointment so far with the 8 interceptions that he's thrown, but still a very good offense. Georgia averaging 66 plays and 33 points a game. They turn it over 1.9% of the time. They pass it 58% of the time, 7.5 yards per passing play, 4.9 per rushing play, and they get sacked only 3% of the time. That is the best mark in the league. No surprise given that offensive line, the talent and experience there. Florida's defense has been getting slowly better. Saw a team that was having fits stopping the run earlier in the year. They're playing better. Season stats, 23.6 points a game on 71 snaps, turnover rate of 1.8%, sack rate of 7.8%, yards per rushing play, 4.5 yards per passing play, given up 6.2. Boy, I think it starts with Georgia. You've got to get more consistent, better play out of Carson Beck. I don't know what's going on there with the picks. I think he's already thrown more than he did maybe last year. Common sense says that is sort of going to return to form. And this is not a Florida defense that forces a ton of turnovers either.
Yeah, it's very uncharacteristic what we're seeing from Carson Beck and Georgia right now with these turnovers, and it's not what we expected and really should see. I feel like from a guy like Carson Beck, but the depth at receiver really stands out to me. Just looking through their list of receivers: Arian Smith, Dominic Lovett, Dylan Bell, Lawson Lucky. London Humphreys gets in there. Trevor Etienne catches it out of the backfield some. Like, there's so much depth at receiver. And Colby Young, these guys who have gotten touches that, you look at other teams or maybe 2 or 3 guys who are the main targets. Well, Carson Beck has had a lot of different guys to throw to, and will continue. With this deep wide receiver room. So I think that's been a big bonus for Georgia, is having so much depth, and Trevor Etienne running the ball. He's had 7 touchdowns, and they haven't run quite as much as some people would have wanted them to. They've definitely gone to the air more. But look, I think this is a really good Georgia offense. They're starting to roll. I thought they looked really good against Texas. I think back to the Alabama game. They missed some targets there in the first half, where that game would have been much different, and a different outcome. I think if Beck had not turned the ball over so much and then hit a couple of his targets. He had a couple, I think, Arian Smith in that first quarter wide open down there, and he overthrew him. So, I think this is a really good offense. Georgia's a championship type team, and I think we'll continue to see that.
Let's get to picks and why. We'll start with you.
Yeah, I'll take Georgia. I think Georgia's the better team here. I think they've done really good in this series as of late, and I think Georgia keeps rolling. They got their eye on the prize of winning it all, I think, and I think they definitely could do that. I'll take Georgia. I don't know if it'll be a big win. I think Florida can compete with them some, but I think Georgia gets a solid win.
Yeah, I'm taking Georgia. I can't really make up my mind what kind of game I think this is going to be. I've talked about how well Florida's played. I genuinely believe that. Part of me feels like Georgia has just got to unlock a level that's higher than we've seen. Yeah. Only that I am a little worried. You've had the dismissals at receiver. You have London Humphreys not being well. You go back and you think, was Carson Beck what he was because he's Carson Beck, or because he had a bunch of receivers a year ago and a guy named Brock Bowers, who was one of the all-time greats. So I do worry a little bit about surrounding casts, but hey, history's taught you to trust Georgia, and I'm going to do it in this spot. Whatever happens, we will be here to cover it afterwards. Every Saturday night, we do a live stream where we recap what happened in the SEC every Saturday. You can get that for free. Hit the subscribe button. Enable your notifications so you know when we go. If you're interested in advertising, and we cover football, baseball, basketball year-round, caroline.smith@southeastern14.com. Thanks for watching. For Chase Robinson, you're watching Southeastern 16, presented by BetOnline.